Stephen's here, business news. Once again, it's that price of oil. It's actually surged overnight, hasn't it?
Yeah, after all these days of falls that we were talking about, we finally saw some positive movement on the oil markets on Wednesday. The price of Brent crude, which is the benchmark price for oil around the world, rose by $2 per barrel. But look at what's happened today. It's fallen back down below the $48 a barrel mark. Now, it hasn't lost all of those gains that we'd seen yesterday, and that is having some knock-on effects that I'll tell you about in a minute. But the other key figure that we're watching for you today is the price of the euro against the dollar. This is because in trading on Wednesday we saw the euro fall to the same level that it launched against the US dollar at. It's just slightly below. It's actually, if you look at that figure there, that's $1.17.83. The launch price was $1.17.5. So it went below that in trading yesterday, since that was the 1999 launch price. We're seeing that's mainly coming from the US side, that influence, because the dollar is getting weaker as a result of some poor retail figures that come out of the United States, and that's putting the exchange rate to where it is now.
Is it affecting the stock markets at all that?
The oil price is the really big thing, again moving the stock markets today. Oil companies, unsurprisingly, getting a boost from the fact that oil is finally trading a little bit higher, even if it has lost some of those gains in trading today. In London, the FTSE 100 is trading up over 1%, as you can see. That's being led by all of the oil and gas firms listed there. That's a very heavy weighting on that index. Here in France, the markets are digesting news that the budget deficit for 2014 was lower than expected, 1.4 billion euros lower or less. In fact, the CAC 40 there up over 1% too. Also a busy day over in the Asia markets. We had news from China. The banks were lending much less than had been expected in November. That's a blow to efforts to reform the financial sector. No such worries in the Shanghai Composite though, which is up over 3%, a clean sweep across the Asian markets. The Mumbai Sensex, the last index that you can see there, that's the Indian market getting a boost from a surprise rate cut by the Indian Central Bank.
Should we take you to Detroit? Why not? The auto show is taking place there this week. Some interesting innovations on show you've discovered.
Yes, they include an electric car that was built at the show in front of the audience's eyes, made using a 3D printer. It's being billed as a taste of what's to come in car manufacturing. Now, it's not the first time the car industry has used 3D printing technology. Automakers have been printing car parts since last year. Belle Lupton explains.
It looks like a car, drives like a car, but the Strati didn't roll off an assembly line. 44 hours in the making, 212 layers of carbon fibre infused plastic. It was printed at the Detroit Auto Show, which makes it the world's first 3D printed car.
Who would have dreamed even 5 years ago that a 3D car would be printed, shaped, assembled, and driven off the floor of the show? It's absolutely remarkable.
It's a joint venture by two US companies. Sabic Innovative Plastics provides the 3D technology, while Local Motors brings the engineering. And the electric car is kitted out with a battery, motor and suspension from French car company Renault. They're hoping the two-seater will be available to the public by the end of the year.
It may look different, may have a different shape and that, but as a neighborhood electric vehicle, you'll be able to get them within 2015. We expect the starting price will be between $18,000 and $30,000.
It's part of a growing trend in the car industry to experiment with 3D printing. Last year, British racing team Stracker used 3D prints of car parts to test designs, cutting down wasted materials and production time. With a top speed of 40 kilometres an hour, the Strati isn't about to compete in the supercar market. But with a lifespan of at least 5 years, it's aiming to give other neighbourhood electric cars the runaround. And if you're bored of it, you can always stick it in the recycling.
Let's take a quick look now at some of the day's other top business stories. And investors in BlackBerry had a rollercoaster ride on Wednesday when shares jumped by 30% after reports of a potential buyout by Samsung. But they fell back in after-hours trading by another 15% when the company denied they were in talks over a $7.5 billion deal. And the Swedish fashion retailer H&M is among 37 firms found to have broken minimum wage laws in Britain. The company appears on a name and shame list published by the UK government. It found H&M had failed to pay some £2,600 or more than €3,300 to 540 of its workers.
Now then, finally, Facebook is coming to the office, and this time you won't actually have to hide it from your boss, apparently.
Yes, that's because they've launched a whole new product called Facebook at Work, and it's supposed to be a professional network that you'll be able to use legitimately at work. Of course, it'll be a competitor to the likes of LinkedIn. Now, it'll allow users to create a separate account from their personal accounts. This is the app that's available for download on the US App Store, so it's only just available there for the moment. The idea is that employers will create their own social networks for their workers to allow them to exchange information and perhaps see less pictures of cats when people are sharing things. Now, you can combine your personal and professional profiles, so it is still possible to get your baby photos on your professional Facebook too. But it'll be interesting to see what it does to the likes of competitors like LinkedIn when this takes off on a greater scale.
Where would work be, though, without those images of cats?
Well, indeed. Where would our work be anyway?
Very important. Very important. Thanks a lot, Stephen.